Hello again, this is Steve for LessonsOnlineTV, and this is yet another video on this video series concerning the modern Greek language. In this video, I'm going to try to introduce you to modern Greek nouns. This video is going to be mainly grammatically, like the focus will be grammar, because you're going to need a lot of it. Now, Greek has this interesting property that you actually need to inflect nouns. That means that when you have a noun, let's say the dog, it's not just the dog that you need to remember. Like, the word dog itself is just, it stands on its own. When you see dog, you know what it means. And if you want to change it, if you want to position it properly in a sentence, you use other words to support it. For example, I have a dog, I have the dog, whatever, right? But if you want to say that something belongs to a dog, you say a ball, okay? It's the ball of the dog. It's the dog's ball. Of the dog. Yeah. If you want to say go to the dog, then you just add to the dog, right? This is what you add. And you're pretty much set. In Greek, it doesn't work that way. In Greek, it's more complicated. First off, nouns have suffixes on their own. Like, you don't see dog. There is a specific format for nouns. Male nouns, because there are three kinds of nouns in Greek. There are male, female, and neuter. Like, genderless, that kind of thing. These genders are mainly grammatical. There isn't not much reason behind why they are male or female, and so on. They just are. It's you just need to memorize it and go on. Like, for example, male. The dog, as I said, is male. It's o skilos. O is a definite article. It's the dog. The articles. Okay, articles. We have definite and indefinite. If you have a male noun, and for example, the dog, this is o skilos. It's like or it's just the different article. But if you want to say a dog, like one dog, then you say enos. This is practically one. Like, this is the logic behind it. You're just saying it's one dog. It's not the dog. It's one dog, one of the rest. For female nouns, for example, I thalassa, like. This has two sigma, again, just saying that that there is a double consonant here. E is the actual article, the definite article. This is the sea. After all, there cannot be a sea, but mainly it's the way we divide them, like into parts. But you could say that a sea, whatever. There are other nouns that can be indefinite. Still, definite is E, and indefinite is mia. Like, this is a female form of one. One, it's exactly the same principle. I'm talking about one sea, not the sea, something like that. And neuter has the article to. To nero, for example. Nero. This means water, and it makes sense to not have a gender. To, and you can say in the indefinite form ena, which is exactly one. It's exactly the word one. Now, all these go together with their respective nouns, if you want to say them in a definite form, like the dog. But to form these, you need, as we say, to do the proper declension. Declensions, I don't think there are cases. There isn't exactly this pattern in English. I think in English there are practically no cases. You just form them in a different manner. Let's say I have the dog again. Then, if I want to say of the dog and to the dog, I have to actually form a different. I have to change the form of this word so that it fits. It fits this off context. Like, instead of saying of the dog, instead of just adding off to the actual word, I have to change the word. And by its form, I will understand that I'm talking about this off. It's like it's integrated, it's embedded. This is called in English a genitive case. Like, these are grammatical cases. Okay, you can look them up on Wikipedia or something. This is nominative. This means, like, this is the case that we call something with. Okay, nominative. Then for genitive, it's how you show that something is someone's property. It shows this kind of relation, property. When you say that something is tu skilu, this is like the proper declension for skilos in genitive. This actually shows of the dog. Like, if I took an English phrase and I want to change it into Greek, I would take this and switch it with this, like 3 words, and you just substitute them with this one. Let's say I have the ball. Okay, the ball is ibala. It's a female noun. Okay? If I want to say the ball of the dog, like the dog's ball, okay? I say ibala, exactly as I see it here, because I'm just referring to something. Therefore, I use the nominative. Ibala tu skilu. And this is proper Greek. This is how you say the ball of the dog, like the dog's ball. You need to use genitive. There is no other way to actually give this kind of meaning. And accusative, this is how you show that something is the object of your action. Like, ton skilo. If you want to say, like, you want to tell somebody to bring the dog, he says, okay, I'm bringing the dog. Whatever. I'm just thinking of a story here or something. Then this guy must say, I am bringing the dog. I am bringing. There is no present continuous, like, I'm bringing. This does not exist. I'm bringing and bring, they are written the same way, I think, in modern Greek. You just say ferno, like, I am bringing. Of course, this could have a ro here. I just don't have it because I don't need it, as I have said in the verbs video. Ferno ton skilo. I must use this case because the dog is the object of my action. Like, I am bringing the dog. What are you bringing? The dog. Who is bringing it? I am. Okay? You don't need that just because of the way the verb is written. But as you can see, actually writing the nouns properly is a complicated matter in Greek. It's not just so simple, like add a word and stuff like that. It's more complicated, and that's why this is like the introductory video for nouns, because there are a lot of, like, genre, a lot of categories for the modern Greek nouns. Okay, let me actually wipe this clean. The problem is that you actually have male nouns that actually end in os. For example, skilos, like skilos. There are nouns that end in is. There are nouns that end in us. It's more complicated because what I wrote before, like o skilos, tu skilu, ton skilo. If you actually notice, like, there is a pattern here. These are like suffixes. It's like I have the stem of a word, which is this again. It's the same philosophy with the verbs. Like, I have a stem and I add suffixes and prefixes. Now, this suffix only works for os. If you have a noun with is, then the pattern changes. Like, this is generally the pattern for nouns with os. Like, when you find a noun that in nominative case, which is usually the one we refer to it, like the one we use to refer to it, you find like this, then the genitive is most probably going to be like this, and the accusative like this. Like, if you want to say the cat, but the male cat, right? You can use the cat has two genders by changing the suffix from male to female, because there are two genders for a cat. O gatos, and we just use the animals here, dog and cat. It follows the same pattern. These never change. It's like the pronouns when it comes to the verbs. Now you just have the same thing for the nouns. Tu, gato, ton, gato. This is exactly the same thing as this. Like, these are exactly the same suffixes, but there are still exceptions for that. It's not so standard. So, in the next videos, I'm going to try to elaborate more on these, even though it's not really necessary. Like, for beginner purposes, you can just memorize what I write. Eventually, you'll get to actually notice the patterns on your own. You don't need to memorize so much grammar. It's boring. I can understand, because I went through a lot to memorize English grammar. So, just try to see what I'm trying to tell you. It's not hard if you actually start to use them with somebody. So there are nouns, male nouns, os, is, and something else I forgot. Okay, and for females, there are a lot more suffixes that sometimes don't follow a pattern. Like a as a suffix usually denotes a female, but it can also be the plural of a neuter one, and so on. This is more complicated. For example, when I have a dog, right? I have only one dog. You can then change it to plural. I have many dogs, like the dogs, I skili. And ton skilon. Generally, as you can see, it's like the same suffix for both, on. But now this doesn't make really much sense. Like τους skilus. And there is, as we say, vocative, where you can actually say skile, which is like the way you call somebody. Skili, skili. And skile is here. So as you can see, this is not easy. This is like serious business. It's hard for me to explain because it's pretty much consistent, but we do it subconsciously. When you get used to it, you just do it and you never notice. So I'll try to break it like into pieces and actually tell you how to do each kind of category on its own, like os, is. And for females, there are more. Like there are female nouns that end in os. It's even though they're female, like this is exactly the same thing. But usually it's not that complicated because these actually share exactly the same pattern. You just behave as if it was male. Still, because this video has gone too long already, I'll see you in the next video where I will try to actually describe to you some basic nouns that you can use in everyday speech, like survival things, like water, food, stuff like that. Okay? So I'll see you in the next video.